Hey guys, it's Han, and today I have my Tamiya Wild Willy 2, or is it? So this is not actually a Wild Willy 2 kit, this is actually a Comical Hornet. And some of you guys that have been around my channel for a long time, you may have seen this vehicle before. It's one of my earliest videos on my channel where I did this conversion to my Comical Hornet and um, made it into this like upgraded higher performing Wild Willy 2. I like to call it a Wild Willy 2.5 or 2.1, however you want to denote it. But basically, the reason for this is because one, it is much cheaper than getting the regular Wild Willy kit, and it's going to be higher performing because as I don't know, um, controversial maybe as the comical buggy series is. Some people hate it, some people love it. If you like the WRO2 stunt chassis from Tamiya, the comical series, the WRO2 CB chassis, is honestly the best version of this chassis they have ever released. So, um, not only from a value proposition, but also from a performance proposition. So, the reason for that is the regular Wild Willy kit on Tower Hobbies right now is going for $190 before their discounts and whatever. On other sites, maybe more than that. And for that, you get the original WRO2 chassis, which means you get friction shocks, you get the stubby knuckles in the front, like the lunchbox uses. So you will have to use bearing hub wheels in the front, which kind of limits your wheel and tire choices. And for those compromises, you also get shorter A-arms. So for all those compromises, you're paying more money. So I think you're better off getting the comical buggy, which usually lays around the $150 mark. And for that, you get a wider track A-arms. You get a couple like battery mount, like exhaust choices, bumper choices. This is a much nicer looking bumper, in my opinion, than the slab square with holes in it, like the Wild Willy has. It also comes with CVA shocks out of the box, a whole other body. It's just all for $150, and then I don't know, add $50, $80 for the Wild Willy body, depending on where you can find it, and just for a little bit more than the standard Wild Willy 2 kit, you have a Wild Willy 2 that will perform significantly better. So you can do that. Oh, and then it also comes with 12 millimeter hex hubs in the front, which also increases your wheel and tire choices as well. So a much better option than getting the regular Wild Willy. And I will do a kind of a side-by-side comparison here real quick with a classic WRO2 to kind of prove to you guys. So this will give you a much higher performing Wild Willy, one that will flip over a lot less, because this body is expensive and a lot of people put a lot of work into it. So the less it flips over, the better, right? And in my opinion, the wider track also helps it look a little better as well. And then including those CVA shocks helps it stay a little more stable, and again, helps it from flipping over a lot. So I have made some other changes to further increase the performance of my Wild Willy. But before I go into that, let's do a quick side-by-side comparison here with a WRO2. So this is my WRO2 Suzuki Jimny, which is the same chassis as the Wild Willy 2. And it is a little bit deceiving because it does not have the typical lunchbox wheels and tires on it. It has the Stadium Blitzer wheel and tires on it. But you can see the A-arms are much wider on the CB chassis, both front and rear. So you can see the track is much wider. You can see a little better from underneath. I don't know if I can get both of these to fit on frame, but I will give it a try here. But you can see there that the A-arms on the CB are maybe a few millimeters wider. And you can also tell that they're wider because it has two spots for shock mount, bottom shock mounts, whereas the standard one only has the single shock mount. So better track on the CB model. This WRO2 was upgraded to have oil shocks, as well as the Stadium Blitzer wheels and tires make it a little lower center of gravity. But even with the Lexion body, this one still flips over a lot more frequently than this one does. And that's because of some of the other changes I've made to this. So you can see these are the monster truck style tires that the Wild Willy is famous for, but these are not the lunchbox wheels and tires. I'll grab a lunchbox here real quick. You can see the lunchbox wheels and tires are about the same diameter, but they are not foam filled, they're just air filled, so they're kind of bouncy of a tire. So if you want extra stability, these may help with the wider width that they have, but they may not be as stable because of their kind of air-filled nature. So to kind of remedy that, I went and put on these ECX Barrage Doomsday wheels and tires. It's a long discontinued model from ECX. And I used to have one. I kept the wheels and tires, and they are a perfect fit for this build, so that's why I have them. The reason I like these wheels and tires is, one, they give a really nice monster truck look. It even has like the kind of the hand carved looking lines in between the treads. They are also foam filled. They have a large sidewall on the outside, which will kind of help with bump negotiation, but it's kind of a short course style where the inner diameters is larger than the outer, so it helps with a little more the tire to keep grip a little better and be a little more stable. So and the compound of this is slightly softer, ever so slightly softer than the lunchbox tires. So I'm a big fan of these wheels and tires for this build. Unfortunately, they are getting increasingly hard to find because the Doomsday didn't sell very well to begin with. So maybe you'll be able to find these wheels and tires on eBay. I don't know. I haven't really looked. But these are also like you saw, are ever so slightly smaller diameter than the lunchbox wheels and tires, so that lowers the center of gravity. I also further lowered the center of gravity by lowering the body. I trimmed out some of the inner bracing and stuff from underneath the body, so it can sit a little more flush and more snugly to the chassis, so that lowers the center of gravity a little bit further. On top of that, I also added a bunch of weights in the bottom here, just like I did to my Honda City Turbo. So that will also let it stay a little more stable with more weight down low. And I added weights a little more evenly on this one because I do still want it to wheelie a little bit. So, but you can see all the weights down here will definitely help with the center of gravity. So even though it looks like a stunt vehicle, it looks the same unstable Wild Willy, it is a much more stable Wild Willy. You can see how far I can tip this thing. Before it'll actually flip over. That's like almost vertical, right around right there. So I think that's pretty good. So yeah, if you are into the WRO2 chassis, interested in the Wild Willy, or interested in building a Wild Willy or something like that, but you don't want, unless you're like really, you really need that Wild Willy box art, and then have it to be exactly the Wild Willy that as Wild Willy 2 as Tamiya intentioned, maybe then you can get the Wild Willy 2. But if you're just any other casual fan of the Wild Willy 2 like I am, I think this is honestly going to be a better option for you. Like I said, around 150 to 160 bucks for the chassis. You can throw in bearings there for 10 bucks. The Wild Willy 2 doesn't come with ball bearings either. And then wheels and tires are honestly optional. and then the body might set you back 50 to 80 bucks depending on where you get it and what condition. But for around the same amount of money, you can get a much better performing Wild Willy 2, and I quite enjoy this. I actually bought a second Comical Hornet specifically for this purpose. So yeah, I love the WR2 chassis, and I have quite a number of them, and quite a few variations of them at this point. So I'm gonna continue to kind of experiment with this chassis and see what they're really capable of. So really enjoying this. If you guys haven't seen, you can check out the video for. Oh, actually, I don't know if I actually uploaded the video for this because I was having some audio issues. But you may see this. You will see this truck again on my channel. And then, if you haven't seen, there is also. Excuse. My wide track Tamiya Hornet, Comical Hornet. So you can see how much wider even this one is compared to the stock one. See how much wider that is. You can see my video regarding this. This is also a fantastic vehicle. In my opinion, I think the comical buggy should have come like this to begin with, but you know, this is a pretty good option as well. So a lot of love for WRO2s on my channel. So if you guys want to see more videos on the WRO2, check out some of my other videos. Or if you want to check out Tamiya's and RC stuff in general, just check out my channel and see what else I have up for you guys. But until next time, bye.